Ferocious is a dinosaur FPS that I have been quite excited about for a while. Yes, I am a child at heart and I just like seeing cool looking dinosaurs do stuff in video games, and Ferocious just released an updated demo on Steam, allowing me to jump into this highly detailed dinosaur shooter. So this game is an upcoming survival FPS set on a mysterious island where dinosaurs never went extinct. Super original premise, not that I need one for a dinosaur video game. The story begins with your boat crashing on an island, leaving you and your brother stranded. Your main goal is to find your brother and rescue him. However, the island is of course teeming with dinosaurs and a bad guy faction of people called Manifesto. Manifesto's guards will shoot you on sight, so while the dinosaurs are a constant presence in the game, they'll often end up allying with you to fight against the human threat, which is an interesting twist, and we'll talk a bit more about that later. The environments in this game are impressively open, designed with sort of a Metroidvania style of looping pathways that encourage exploration and for the most part minimize the backtracking necessary. Visually, the game is exceptional, especially for such a small indie team. There's massive vistas, gorgeous lighting, detailed textures, and a lush, well-rendered jungle, which is pretty hard to do on a convincing level. That said, there are some rough edges, but considering the scale of the project, it's already surpassed my expectations. And it's hard to keep in mind that this isn't a big-budget AAA title, if even at a glance it seems like it could be. Now, I like that the game features survival elements. You are crashed on this island, you gotta figure out how to survive among the dinosaurs, but it's not just a run and gun dino shooting mayhem experience. You collect resources like sticks and animal skins to craft essential gear such as bandages and armor. However, I will say resources were so plentiful that I rarely worried about scavenging things. It's not really a bad thing, it just comes down to what you want the ratio of scavenging to fighting to be, and I think maybe they could still work on that a little bit. Now, navigating the world is pleasantly intuitive. Climbing ropes and rappel points mark ledges in a more natural way to help you get around the map and over things, helping you stay on track but not feeling overly intrusive. The game does have optional assists like flashing interaction points and yellow paint, which you can enable in the settings, but I found the pathing pretty clear enough to leave them off and not kind of ruin that immersion. The game also has some parkour mechanics for getting around the environment, which are a cool thought, but they do lack some of the depth to make them feel more interesting, and ultimately they just feel a bit more repetitive when you're just constantly jumping up ledges and hitting that spacebar. Now, this game does feature dynamic destruction with wooden walls and floors that you can shoot or blow up to create new paths. For example, toward the end of the first level, there's a ledge you can reach by blowing up parts of a walkway. You don't have to do this as there's a ladder on the side of a building that takes you where you need to go, but having this choice makes the world feel more natural and less planned, plus just breaking stuff is cool. I do, however, feel like the destruction gameplay was definitely underutilized. If you're going to build a system that can do all this stuff, make it more plentiful in the world. Now, in the second level, you very much upgrade your movement game. You can actually ride dinosaurs and use stuff like a kayak to get around the world, which makes it far more interesting. You get a fun little device called the DCD that lets you command one dinosaur at a time. Small ones can unlock gates for you, larger ones can be ridden or even used to attack enemies. Basically, you point the device at a dinosaur, and when you get close enough, a green line appears to let you know that you can hold the capture button to control the dinosaur. Once you have a dino in your control, you can hold E to command it with basic stuff like go here, attack, or make a noise. Doing this to this dinosaur will let you interact with it and even ride it. This is certainly a unique take on the dinosaur shooter, but before you get the DCD, most of the combat is against human enemies or bug-like dinosaurs lurking in the grass. The first time I encountered a real predator, a raptor I think, instead of being able to fight it, the game actually forced me into a cutscene where you try and escape from its attack only for it to be eaten by a T-Rex. And at the end of the cutscene, you fall off a ledge, and when you wake up, the DCD is being given to you. And this sort of leads me to one of my critiques of Ferocious. For a game where you're stranded on an island with ferocious dinosaurs, you actually don't spend much time fighting the actual dinosaurs. And really the only time the dinosaurs felt like a genuine threat, or I even had to fight them at all, was when I was attacking a treehouse base to retrieve the commander's keys, and there was a handful of demonosauruses lurking around the base. And since I can only command one dinosaur at a time, I only had one friendly dinosaur to help me while the guards and other dinosaurs did attack me, which was a cool experience and a really interesting balancing act that I wish the game did more. There just wasn't enough of it, in my opinion. The second level's main objective is to retrieve the T-Rex's baby and give it back. Definitely not stealing any Jurassic Park plot points here. Sadly, the demo ends just as you're getting into a mech suit to assault a base full of guards. I mean, really, what more do you need in a video game aside from mechs and dinosaurs? But again, the combat is mostly focused on shooting the bad guy people instead of trying to survive a bunch of ferocious dinosaurs. Now, to give Ferocious some credit on the combat front, the FPS combat is actually quite fun and the shotguns are absolutely devastating, really selling the impact with enemies instantly turning into bloody messes when hit. There's also a golden desert eagle, which feels very appropriate for a dinosaur shooter. If you're gonna accept the campy premise, you gotta have a golden deagle. You are a bit of a tank as a player. You can take on multiple enemies at a time without having to micromanage health and armor mid-firefight. There's also health upgrades that you can craft if you take time to explore and grab all the resources that you need, and the level design does a pretty good job of looping you back to main objectives if you get stranded, and also properly rewarding you for exploration. Combat really gets dialed up when you're assaulting a group of enemies in a base. There's a heavy action movie vibe in this game and I absolutely love it. The exploding barrels, destruction, bloody corpses flying everywhere brings back some classic shooter feels that I've definitely missed. Ferocious is definitely a unique take on the dinosaur shooter in that it's not done in the more traditional way where you spend a lot of your time fighting the dinosaurs and instead you end up working more with them. And on one hand, I certainly get that it's probably not the best visuals to have a guy running around just blasting all these dinosaurs on an island. They kind of are like the natural wildlife to a degree. But on the other hand, when I think of a dinosaur shooter, I expect some dinosaur shooting. Make some evil dinosaurs or whatever you gotta do, but I want a nice guilt-free dino shooting experience. It's hard to ignore the fact that the name of the game is Ferocious. The premise is you are trapped on an island with dinosaurs, and yet you spend most of your time fighting soldiers. Although you do get to take control of the dinosaurs to fight the soldiers, there's areas of it that still feel a little lacking, like I wasn't even able to stomp on a soldier with a dinosaur. And this could certainly be a limitation of the budget and the size of an indie team. The difficulty of animating and writing convincing AI for dinosaurs and all of their logic, and getting it to a point where they're actually really fun and challenging to fight against might be beyond a smaller dev team. Having fun and rewarding AI that don't have guns, that kind of swarm you and stalk you in groups and all that stuff can be really challenging to build, and it's possible that they tried it, realized it might have been too challenging, and fell back on some more traditional FPS gameplay combined with the control the dinosaur gameplay. Now, of course, this is only a demo with 2 levels, so it's entirely possible that a lot of these balances and changes change up later in the game, so we'll just have to wait and see. And I do want to loop back around to the good stuff because there is a lot of it. What the developers have accomplished so far is very impressive. The world building, the visuals, the dinosaurs themselves do look great. It's an impressive looking game. And the FPS combat, which is something that I wasn't expecting to be a major point of the game, is still actually really fun, and I was vibing out with it. I'm really curious to see where the game evolves from here. I think the devs have built themselves a huge amount of tools to play with to give you a lot of unique and interesting gameplay. I will be eagerly awaiting its full release, and until then, I'm still gonna keep my eyes out for the Dinosaur FPS where the dinos are the main threat in the game. It's hard to do. I get why nobody's done it before. A lot of big challenges with it. But we'll wait and see. Maybe Ferocious will become that game more in the later levels. It's always hard to predict the overall arc of a game from the demo alone. Now, up next, if you want to see my own personal experiences with developing a video game and the challenges that come with it, check out the latest episode of my C-Beams devlog. This has been now an 18-month long development process. We've run into all kinds of challenges and successes, and it's been really fun to document the experience. Check out that video next, and otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.